But welcome to Growing in Vine Ministries, everybody, where we teach people how to grow, change, and produce in everyday life. But all right, so if you have ever started a project in your life, or you ever did a project and you kind of had in your mind or you envisioned what the project would be like or what it should look like or what you kind of wanted the project to look like. And as you kind of went down that path, did you run into some difficulties or into some issues sometimes as you're trying to complete a task or something at hand? And that's understandable. But when you run into those difficulties, did it make you quit? Did it make you give up? Did it make you dig in a little further when you just really think about those things with a project? But sometimes you might have been missing an ingredient or you didn't have the tool you needed to complete it. So you might have to run to the store to get what you need, or you knew what you needed, but you didn't have it at the time. And so, what's beautiful about that too is when you do have a vision of what something should look like, when you do go to the store, you know what not to get. So, you already know what you're going to get. You already see it in your mind of what you're supposed to be on task to complete. And so, life can be the same way. It can be the same way with our lives. And sometimes we do lack the vision of certain things we want to do in life. But just because you run into difficulties or hardships or anything like that, that doesn't mean the vision is gone and you can't complete the task. It just means that's life. Things happen, problems arise, people come and go, storms will blow, caught in a storm sometimes, but things do happen in your life. But look at this. This is what I wanted to say too. The reason we quit so many things is because we lose our vision. That's technically what usually happens to you. What the vision of what you said that you would complete is not important to you no more. You say, oh man, I can't complete this vision. It ain't looking like nothing that I believe, nothing that I trusted for. So it's over with. We got to scrap the whole project. And that's what happens to us sometimes. But most people don't have a faith problem. We have a vision problem. Just think about that. It's usually because when you actually can see in the spiritual things, 'cause I'm talking in the spiritual now, I'm not talking in the natural. When you can actually see things in the spiritual, that's what increases your faith. That's what helps you to believe and to trust what God is saying is true. Because you're like, man, I'm seeing with my spiritual eyes, man. So I got the faith to believe that this is going to come to pass of what God said that we can do or what God said that we can have. And so I want to show you guys, we're going to do Proverbs 29 and 18 here. And we're going to do two different versions of this because I want you guys to see both versions of this. And look at and this is, you can see exactly what's happening when we look at world and life in general. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keeps the law, happy is he. And so we're not going to touch on those parts there, but where there is no vision, the people perish. And so that's the King James Version, but let's look at the New King James Version also. Where there is no revelation, people cast off restraint. So people think revelation is a big, deep thing, and it's really not. Really not. It's just the revealing of God's plan. That's what revelation is, because we make it real deep sometimes, like you got to be called up into the third heaven to get a revelation of these things. But if you continue to read the word of God, you will get a revelation of who God is and who his son is sent to do for you guys. But I want to focus in on two words there. I want to talk about perish and restraint, because when we think about perish, we think like, man, we're going to die. It's over with for us. It's the end of the world. But it's really not, because he said when God told Adam and Eve, if you eat of this tree, the day you will surely die. And they didn't die. So what happened? It was a spiritual death. And see, so that's what a lot of people don't know, man. It's a spiritual death, and your spirit man is decaying because we never feed the spiritual man. So you're perishing. And that's why people get further and further away from God. So look at this here. This is what is perish. It's to be destroyed or ruined. That's the big perish. But it's also to be weakened, or be numb. So be numb. That's exactly what it's showing you there. Be numb. And be numb is to make inactive, deaden, or to make numb, especially by cold. So it's to become inactive in the things that we do. And that's what he's talking about, man. When you have no vision, you become inactive. You just want to sit down all day. You don't want to go after these spiritual things that God has given you because you're inactive. You become cold. You become callous. You don't go after the things of God. And let's also look at what restraint is, and then we'll talk a little more. But look at this. This is restraint. And you can see it when people have no revelation of who God is, they don't show restraint. And you can use these for the people out in the world, man. You see what type of chaos they go through and no restraint, but it's control over the expression of one's emotions or thoughts. I was actually talking to a guy yesterday, and we talking about emotional intelligence, and I didn't even know he talked about that stuff, but he's working on his. This guy's talking to is working on his, but that's what we're talking about here, man. It's control over the expressions of one's emotions or thoughts. And the Bible shows us about the thoughts. We can cast down those evil thoughts that we have in our head. We say, man, anything that exalts itself against the knowledge of Christ, man, cast down those evil imaginations. And we can control the thoughts before they even prosper to whatever we see here. To whatever we see, we can say, oh, no, that's not a thought of God. You say, think on these things, what's ever pure, what's ever lovely. So I don't know where that thought came from, but I cast down that evil imagination. Bring that thought into captivity before it even gets a chance to manifest in your life, before you even let it stay there in your head. Get rid of it. And so when you have a revelation of who God is, you learn how to do that. You say, man, no, I'm not going to let this exalt itself. See, when I got a vision of who God is, I'm already saying, oh, man, I got to keep these laws. I got to do what's right because, man, I have a vision of what I need to get to. I have a vision of where I'm trying to go. And this is what happens to a lot of people. So I'm going to give you a problem and I'm going to give you a solution to this whole little deal here. I'm going to give you a problem and I'm going to give you a solution, and it's not going to be real deep. This is the problem that we usually run into right here. Our vision of God changes. It's usually you. It's our vision of God that changes because what does it say? God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So the only person changing usually is you. It's usually me. We're the ones changing. And so look, this is a good thing too, though, because your vision of God can change for the better or for the worse. But I see now where I'm at now, I choose to let mine change for the better. But see, a lot of people see, and when you start to have the lack of vision that we have in life, we start to let ours change for the worse. See, a lot of people let theirs change for the worse. They, oh man, that God stuff, it don't work. So they start to go the other way. See, their vision of God starts to change to something else. See, when the world keeps bombarding you with all this foolishness and all this chaos, your vision of God starts to change for the best. You say, well, no, God don't have it under control. If God had it under control, then this wouldn't be happening. It's not true. Read your word. He told you the way it was going to be before his return. He said, man, so was the days of Noah. So what are we talking about? God don't have it in control. He has it in control, but the vision of what we're looking at is the wrong thing. See, we're looking at the problem, but I'm looking at the solution. See, when we start to see those problems, I see God. I say, man, God is about to move. He's about to shake some stuff up because this is what he said was going to happen. And before these things will come to pass. So my vision of God starts to get a little more clear. And if you don't like what you're seeing in the natural, start looking through the spiritual. Very simple to me. I say, man, if I don't like what I'm seeing, say, all right, well, Lord, your word said this was true. And when you start to do these things, man, you start to build yourself up. You start to feel good. That word just pumps you up. You be like, oh, man, I can conquer. I'm more than a conqueror because, man, I'm not worried about nothing what I see. See, I'm going to live above this fray because I don't like what I'm looking at anyway, so I might as well live in the spiritual. So if I were you, I wouldn't let the problem be the problem. I would say, Lord, my vision of you is going to change, but it's going to change for the better. See, I'm not going to let it change for the worse. I'm not going to be moved by what I see. See, if I was moved by what I see, I'd have quit a long time ago. I'm just being honest. You might as well quit. But really, when you think about it, most of us in here, I don't know if some of us were raised in church or not in church, but my life now, I've come too far to turn around anyway. What else do I have to go back to? Just really, if you truly been a Christian, you truly been seeking God, was the other way that much better? It really wasn't. But for some reason, the devil gets twisted and gets our vision messed up that we were like, man, yeah, that was better when I was out doing that. That was better when I was out drinking. And the next morning I woke up and I couldn't move and my head was hurting. That was living. That was a great time, boy. But it's amazing how your mind tells you that, doesn't it? You know, we went on vacation one time. We were down there in the Dominican or Jamaica. Man, these folks, boy, they were drinking from sun up to sundown. I'm like, how are they going to remember their vacation? Oh, man, I'm in the beautiful Jamaica and you about to forget everything you saw because you was drunk the whole time. But then they say, boy, we had a great time. You 50 years old still drinking like a teenager or something. So that's crazy. You look like a fool. And I was there telling my wife, I said, and I told my wife, I said, you know the amazing thing about this? I said, these people have kids. They have kids. They are grown adults and they have kids. But they didn't have no vision. See, they lack vision, so they just threw off all type of restraint. They're perishing. They were perishing. Man, you might not perish that way, but you're killing your liver. Yeah, then you go through all that, and then you're asking somebody for a liver transplant. You're like, for what, fool? You already jacked yours up. Well, I'm gonna give you my liver. I don't know. Can you give a liver? I know you can give some of those things. But I know you give a kidney, I guess. Well, yeah, you jack, man. I'm like, man. Well, yeah, you can sit up here and ask for mine. You done ran through yours. Now you want mine. That don't make sense to me. But just when we look at the things of God, man, don't let your vision change for the worse. Make it change for the better. This is a vitamin. This is a weight. You are lifting weights. When you look at this word of God, you will start to get built up in your spirit, man, like you wouldn't believe. And it doesn't matter what comes your way. Then you be like, God, I'm trusting you. I'm still standing on your word. I'm still standing on your promises. This is what you told me to do. This is the path that you set me on. My vision is still on you. And so, all right, so let me give you the solution then. Let me go on and give you the solution to this problem. You see that putting that puzzle together? Y'all like that? But this is what the solution is. And we're not going to focus in on verse 1, but verse 1 is so good I couldn't leave it off. Hebrews 12:1-2. And this is what it says. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, all right, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that easily trips us up, and let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. So what earlier? I talked about doing a project. Your life is a project, whether you want it to be or not. Your life is under construction. It's a work in progress. So this is a race, he calls. This is an endurance that we're going through. We're running this race with endurance that God has set before us, because each of us has a race to complete. That's why at the end he's going to say, well done, hopefully, my good and faithful servant. All right. And so if you didn't complete the race, you don't get a well done. you don't. I've never heard somebody they don't cross the finish line, but they tell them how great they did. When does that happen? Well, I don't know what race y'all been to. If you don't cross the finish line, they don't even talk to you. You say, man, just go on and go home, leave. Ain't gonna be no camera if you walk off the thing. They ain't taking no picture, no nothing with you. But look at this here. And this is the key. This is the solution to all these problems right here. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus. That's where your vision should be. It should never turn away from that. And look what he does. The champion who initiates and perfects our faith. So he's in both one. He starts it and he finishes it. He's going to do both of it. So that's how you get your faith right there. When you keep your eyes on Jesus, he's going to initiate your faith. Because that's what it was when you came to the knowledge of Christ. You were like, all right, I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. So let me see what I need to do to really make this guy happy. And so he initiated our faith right then. And so now he's going to perfect this faith if you keep your eyes on him. That's what it says right there, by keeping your eyes on Jesus. And look what happened to him. And it says, and this should be a testament to everybody's life, because I know somebody's been through something in there. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. All right, so let me throw me in there. All right, let me put me in. I'm not on this level, but it's the same thing. I've been through a lot of shames. I've been through a lot of hiccups, but I'm enduring it because I'm keeping my eyes on Jesus. I'm keeping my eyes on Jesus. And so wherever you are in your life, it doesn't matter what issues you had. It doesn't matter who left you, who talked about you. You have to keep your eyes on him, because that's what Jesus did. That's the same guy that was doing miracles for him. Then they laughed at him when he was on the cross. If you the Savior, why don't you come down? The same people he healed. That's what people will do to you. Trust and believe me. That's what people will do to you. And then they just dislike you for no reason, man. You've been standing in the trenches with them. You've been building them up. Then they leave you. My dad got plenty of stories too. He told me about it. Man, you think people are going to roll with you? Think people are going to do these things? And by all means, if you need to leave, leave. Because I still have to keep my eyes on Jesus. I still have to keep him because he's initiating and perfecting my faith. It's not in no human being. It's not. I say, man, because this is the God that I serve, and I have to trust and believe him because he has the heaven or the hell for me, not people. When you really think about it. All right. And so look, and now he is seated in the place of honor beside God's throne. So look, this is what you have to do. Let's not get this twisted. Let's not get this messed up. This ain't no baby Jesus. This ain't the guy. That's not the guy you're looking for no more. He did what he needed to do. He grew up. Now he's sitting beside God. Isn't that what this says? So that's the guy we serve. It's not the Jesus that was walking the earth and didn't have all power. It's not that one. It's the one that's sitting on the side of God now. So that's the Jesus we serve. That's the Jesus who you're looking for. That's the Jesus that you keep your eyes on. And so it should be able to make it easier and easier to walk this path out. And you say, man, that's the God that I serve. See, it's not the baby in the manger. See, everybody loves that baby. And they love talking about it around Christmas time, and then they done talking about it. But this is the God we serve with all power, all might. That's the God, and that's the Jesus that we serve here. All right. So trust and believe that. All right. So let me show you this here. And so when we go through life and different things that we have, if you needed sight, you needed some help, or your eyes were lacking, you can go to the eye doctor. You can get glasses, and they got corrective surgeries now that you can receive. But now you don't need all that. All you need to start doing is trusting and believing God, reading his word, seeking him out, and your vision will be corrected on a spiritual level. It's way better vision than you ever get from the optometrist. It's way better vision than you ever get from any doctor. If you trust and believe this word, God will take you places that you never thought that you would go. And it doesn't matter what's going on out here in the natural. You're still living in the spiritual realm where you be like, oh, Lord, all right, that's going on. And what's so crazy about this spiritual vision that you get, it usually causes chaos in the natural. I'm just going to be honest, man. When you start to see the good things of God in the spiritual, it causes chaos in this natural arena down here because the devil is trying to distract you and get you deterred. And see, that's what the news does to you every morning. The news already tries to kill you every single morning to distract you off of what you're already trying to do. And that's what the enemy's supposed to do. I appreciate the devil for doing that because he knows who I am. He knows who I am. So I'm like, all right, but I'm still looking in the natural. See, I'm still looking in the spiritual and not the natural. I don't get caught up here. So you get messed up when you get caught in the natural. See, that's why I continue to pray in the spirit. That's why I continue to do these things in the spiritual realm, because that affects the natural. You might not see them manifest as quick. You might not see them manifest as quick in the spiritual, but when you seek after God, oh yeah, it's there. Just trust and believe. It's not going to come as quick. I guarantee it's not going to come as quick because he's trying to deter you. The enemy doesn't want you to believe this, but we can do it. Only thing we have to do is keep our eyes on Jesus. And very simple, as you start to get stronger and stronger in this, it becomes easier and easier to do this. I love doing this. I enjoy doing this now. And for some reason, I don't know why we are where we are right now. I don't know. I don't know. And if it was up to me, man, I'd have this thing packed out already. But for some reason, God has us here. God has us here. And we'll take this off the thing here, and hopefully Nancy doesn't get upset when I say this. I don't think she will. She might check me later. She ain't gonna be mad, but she might. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm not gonna talk about you. I'm not gonna talk about you. I don't mean it like that, but I don't want to share too much information, and so I don't know if it's a SEC regulations or anything like that, but I did share a little bit with my brother Vince the other day. And so we're here at this point of Growing in Divine Ministries. And so I don't know. I thought it would be further along right now. I thought it would be this, or I thought it would be that, because I do see in the spiritual that God has great things in store for us. And so, but it was in my spirit too. And it was like, man, what it says, man looks upon the appearance, but God weighs the hearts. Okay. And so, and the only reason why I'm telling you guys this, because we're saying God weighs the hearts. And so I'm going to give you a testament to this. And so you can, and maybe that'll uplift you, and that'll build you up. But where we're at right now, we're in a great position. And the reason why I'm going to tell you we're in a great position is because we don't have great numbers here. We don't have great numbers. We're not setting the world on fire. So I don't know why things are happening the way they're happening, and we're not really seeing things take off the way they're taking off, but we're ready to take off. See, we're ready to take off. So whenever God gives that green light to kind of move this thing forward, and he starts to send things to our place, we're in good shape. But don't get it twisted, everybody. God is providing. We're not struggling. And God is doing a good work. And so we don't know. We don't know when it's going to happen, man. It can be a suddenly that things start to change and things start to come to fruition, but we're in the right spot. Just trust and believe. If you continue to keep your eyes on Jesus, it uplifts everybody, and everybody will continue to move this thing forward the way they need to move it. So trust and keep believing, and don't get deterred by nothing you see. And what y'all can do for me, just continue to keep us in prayer. That's what you can do. Continue to keep us in prayer. And so continue to just do that. And Nancy looking at me now, so she gonna tell me something later. I know she. You see the way she's saying?
I think it was 2025. I don't know if it was 30.
Okay, so now she's fixing me, but we're close. I'm sorry. I thought we were at I'm close to 30. So whatever it is, but put the number at it, whatever you want to put it at, Nancy. We're in a good spot. So that's what I'm telling you guys. And so God is still doing a good work, because we've been able to do that with the small numbers that we have. We've been able to do that with the small numbers that we have. And so that's a testament to what God is doing. That's all I was trying to say. I knew she was going to straighten me out. But it's a testament to what God is doing. So trust and believe, and to continue to keep us in your prayers, but it's going to be good. It's going to be really good. And man, he's raising up what? I don't know, Terica's kid.